My father was a great golfer, a scratch player, and played golf all of his life, and only quit when his handicap got to 4 because he couldn't face going any higher than 4. During that time, I saw the way that he trained to keep his body fit and healthy. But what I've noticed is that lots of golfers who come to my Pilates classes lack the mobility to be able to do the swing shot. Here are 5 exercises that you can do to help core stability and mobility to help you swing. Now, I'm not a golfer, but I am a sports scientist and I am a Pilates instructor, and I do understand the biomechanics of this. So the first thing we need to understand about mobility is it has 2 parts. Number 1 is where the bone meets the bone, okay? So whether that's your elbow joint and you've got golfer's elbow, your wrist joint, your fingers that affects your grip, or your shoulder joint, or even your spinal joints here in what's called the lumbar pelvic region. Where the joints meet, you have a cartilage, and within that joint you have fluid called synovial fluid. That fluid needs to get absorbed into the cartilage to make the joint fit together better. The things you can think about doing, so whilst you're on your way to golf, start with your hands. I always tell my clients with arthritis to use a towel and wring the towel along your hands. Now you can have this towel on your golf bag, it doesn't have to be this size, it could be a small towel, but it needs to be rough. You then, as if you are cleaning your fingers, go through that. Work especially on this area here, okay? So you want to move that bit there. You want to press into the palm of your hand, coming up into your hand and then into your finger joints. This helps to keep the joints of the hand great because you want to have a good strong grip. For the elbows and the shoulders, you can do this together. Now, when you're doing shoulder mobility, don't immediately go into full range. Think about doing some shoulder shrugs, okay? So you can do up and down or circles. And then think about how this works with that whole chest area. So instead of just doing this, go behind your body. So think about moving your hand from one side of your body to the other, and then open out this way, okay? And then open out this way. Now, once you've done the opening, you can do the inner rotation because you're going to be in this position a lot. So you want to warm up the upper body. And this is the second part of mobility, is their muscles that wrap around the joint also have to have an increased blood flow. Before you're playing golf, 80% of your blood will remain in this chest and thorax area around your heart and your gut and your intestines, and you need to get at least 5 to 6 minutes for it to be evenly distributed throughout the regions, especially the extremities. So we start small, open, yeah, and then lift. Try to think about leading with your thumb, okay, so that you don't close the shoulder joint up, but you keep it away from your body, and turn as if you're trying to get something off the back seat of your car. Now get your head with it, because your neck mobility has to be good. So you use your neck mobility at the same time, and that keeps it a little bit more functional. When you're doing the forward movement, you want to take the arm back and then over, not just up here. So it goes behind and then over, okay? Now you'll notice when I'm doing this, I have a slight swing in my body, and that's where we want to be. So you want to keep the pelvis still, but move that upper body like you're doing a breaststroke. Then you want to do this one. So open the chest, close the chest, open the chest. When we're doing this, we're working through the upper back. So we round the chest and tuck your head in, open the chest, round the head, tuck the chest in, open the chest. This is going to help your neck and your upper body warm up a little bit. Now we need to work on this core area here. So we have main stabilizers that stabilize rib to hip and also spine to hip. These movements are sideways movements, and I'll see people doing this with a golf club, but actually what you're doing is just doing here. This bit's not moving. So you need to get your golf club down and move this way towards the outside of your thigh, So can you see the difference between my spine and my neck are moving now to just my shoulders? Yeah. And then holding onto your golf club, turn to the side, lift it up and turn to the side. So watch this from the back. Lift and turn, lift and turn. This is going to warm up through those obliques and keeping that moving. When we want to warm up the hips, we need to think about the joints of where the spine is moving. So that at the end of the spine, you have the sacrum, which is like a shield, kind of wedge shaped part of the spine here that slots into the pelvis. That is your sacrum. This is your iliac crest. That is your sacroiliac joint. So this joint here needs to be both warm and mobile. You then have the positioning of the thigh. So the thigh bone comes up here and fits into the pelvis. So when you are moving your legs or your hips, you have to have what they call a rhythm within that lumbopelvic region to allow a smoothness and a flow of movement. Yes, you're going to practice doing your swings, but these are things that you can do at home to prepare before you get into the car. Remember, once you have done that, it's like heating the oven up before you do the cooking, okay? Think of it like that. So when we're doing the lumbopelvic rhythm, we want to think about the hip stability here. So balance work is great. You know full well you're going to be coming down and picking up the ball. So this is a really good way to think about using your balance. So stand on one leg, okay? Stand on one leg. Stand on one leg, you can stand on one leg and do your arms and then go down to your knee, okay? Now what you want to do here is push your hip back, push your hip forward, push your hip back. Now watch how my back is moving, okay? So my back is straight and up, back is straight and up, yeah? So you can do these before, just think about it, picking your golf tee off the floor, yeah? Doing that movement, up and down, happy days, all right. So let's work into the hips, okay? You need to open the hip, all right? So you can do some knee lifts first. When you're doing the knee lifts, you have to think about this region. So you're not doing this, you lift your knee up. Okay, do them at home, because I know you lot, you'd be embarrassed standing on the golf course doing this. Okay, and then open hip, okay? So open the hip this way. It might go, but that's okay. All right, happy? All right, then you want to warm up your hamstrings and your knees. The easiest way to do that is to just bend your knees backwards. So this is warming up the knee without any pressure, no body weight onto this. If you want to, you can hold onto your golf club at the same time, anything to just warm that up. Then you want to work on your ankles. Your ankles are really important in terms of stability. But your calf muscle here goes into your Achilles tendon, and in order to get that balance, you want to work what's called the posterior chain. So posterior chain includes the calf, the hamstring, the glutes, the back, the shoulders. And lots of people will just think about working their back and then ignoring their feet and their ankles. Little things you can do a little walk, okay, on the spot. So when you're making your breakfast in the morning, a cup of tea ready to go, start warming up your ankles. Then you want to do some calf raises. So again, doing this in the kitchen is great because you've got a bit of balance, but up and up. Then see if you can do your balance, okay? So balance and down, balance and down. And then if you can, balance to squat. Now lots of people can't do the squat because their ankles are so tight this happens. So we want to be able to keep the ankles down. So you want to think about how you're going into that golf position. Push your hips back and just drop them down, and then push your hips forward and reach up, keeping your back straight. Don't stick your belly out. One muscle that is really problematic in a golf swing is your lats. So if you put your thumb into your armpit, this lat muscle here connects mid-back to the arm. And you can start to see how, if this is tight, you can't take your arm all the way back. A good stretch for this is to hold onto your wrist and give a bit of traction as you lean to the side. You want to keep the pelvis still and not do this. Okay, so you pull and a bit of traction to the side, bit of traction to the side. Roll your shoulders. There are many more things you can do, but my 10 minutes are up. I'll try and come back and show you some specific training exercises to get your core strength working in a way that is explosive to create more power, so that when you hit the ball, you're doing minimal effort but having maximum effect. Take care.